This movie has a message that was really deep, except it gets ignored because this movie was considered the worst horror movie of 2024. This movie is your typical horror movie. Seven friends rent a cabin, throw a party, and they run out of booze. But instead of going to the store, they decide to check out the creepy house and see if they can find any in there. But as they check out the house, they snoop and they touch things they know they're not supposed to touch, including a tarot deck and an astrological divination cloth. And some people would see these items as scary on their own. However, other people see these items as tools to read energy, check outcomes, or even take a peek into their own fate. And that is the core of what this movie is about. In the beginning half of the movie, they're basically telling us that there is no escaping your fate. At first, the movie makes you wonder, do I believe in fate? For people who typically believe in fate, they usually fall in the positive side, where they believe in a predetermined destiny or a divine plan that was always mapped out for them, or simply what will be, will be. But with that, there are also other people that see it as a sentence, as in, what's going to happen is just going to happen, and there's nothing I can do to change it. Which made me think of one of my childhood friends. When we were young, we always used to talk about the future, as kids do, and she seemed like she always had such strict plans, to the point that she would be worried almost if she was going to get all her plans done, because she had a strict deadline of 21. She wanted to travel, get married, do this, do that, all the things, but it had to be by 21. And when I asked her why, I remember her telling me that, well, my mom had me at 21 and my grandma had my mom at 21. So obviously I'm next. And I thought of her immediately after rewatching this movie, because that's exactly how the protagonist sees things. Haley is the protagonist of this movie. After they bust down the basement door and find these super spooky tarot cards, they ask her to do their reading. And that's the part of the movie where I started to see the message hit a turning point. Haley reads each of her friends and she gets some tea. She does their horoscopes and she gets their zodiac signs, their outcomes, but she also picks up on their hidden tendencies and maybe bad habits. She even gets these super specific warnings about maybe what they should avoid coming up. And that part specifically signaled to me, like, hey, that's a lot of detail for a horror movie, is it not? But the friends are eating it up. They're loving these readings, even if some of them are a little skeptical. But it's all fun and it's games and entertainment until it's not. Later on, they discover that tarot deck they found in the creepy basement was cursed. And now all of a sudden, all of their readings are coming true, but in a way that they never imagined. And as the friends realize what's happening, they're getting picked off one by one. They try to save themselves and they start looking back on the readings they had for some answers, because some uncanny parallels keep happening. And this is where I start to see the real message of the movie. I feel like those readings were hyper specific for a reason, not just to create parallel plot points, but to also drive home the subliminal message. The message that makes this movie not only make us question, do I believe in fate, but also challenges us to recognize that what we are calling fate might just be those hidden tendencies and unconscious habits that we haven't faced just yet. Like in the movie, Haley reads the horoscope for Madeline, the Pisces, and she tells her, you're generous, creative, and empathetic, but moving forward, you should surrender, because, you know, Pisces have a tendency to run away when they're afraid. And Haley warns her that running away this time around might not serve her best interest. And then when things get scary and they're on the bridge and they're slowly becoming conscious of, hey, maybe these readings are what's causing us to meet these scary fates. And we can see that unconscious parallel, because now that not just us, the watcher, are aware and conscious of what's happening, the characters are conscious of what's happening. And they watch Madeline in real time attempt to make a choice. Does she fall into old habits and run, or does she fight the urge to follow that unconscious pull and choose something different? And the same thing happens with all of the other friends. They're all tested on whether they'll break those subconscious patterns. I remember reading an article that said, and I quote, The fated life is one in which you remain stuck in cycles of unconscious karma and inherited patterns of the past. So if that's the case, then that means fate is everything that you already know. It's safe, it's familiar. That would also mean that if we want to change our outcome, our fate, or simply just avoid a negative one, do we have to consciously do what feels unsafe? Boy. Love a boy.